We are live. We are live. Starting in 1 minute.
Cool. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the 2023 Hack-a-TONx DoraHacks presented by the Open Network. My name is Justin Hyun, and I am the head of incubation at TON Foundation. TON is a fifth generation blockchain developed by the Telegram team and continued by the open source community of developers and enthusiasts. It is the first blockchain with the massive potential user base of Telegram that dApps can really service. Our prize pool stands at $300,000, and quality projects will be fast tracked for potential grants, audit subsidies, and investments from an ecosystem fund. Hack-a-TONx is a culmination of 3 months of hard work by TON Foundation, and we are very excited to begin the onboarding week. During the session, we will accept questions from the audience through our Telegram channel, Hack-a-TONx, and participants whose questions are selected will be awarded $50 AWS coupons and participation SBTs. Please join using the QR code present on the screen, bottom right. Today, we have Tao Cole, founder of Forbes, TON ambassador, and TON core community developer, and Roman Krutovoy, TON Foundation developer, onboarding manager. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Tao Cole.
So, hey guys, we're really excited to have you in the hackathon, and we've been thinking a lot of what is the correct way to onboard you all to developing on TON. So, I think this is the purpose of this kind of like workshop or talk. How do you really start with TON? We want to like throw you in it, and we want to start a little bit by inspiring you. Like, why do we have TON? Why do we want to build stuff with TON? So this will be the first section, and I'll take that. And in order to understand where TON is coming from, we need to look at a little bit of history. Now, L1 blockchains are something pretty difficult to build. You see many L1s contending today. You see L1s like EOS and Solana. But in my eyes, you don't really, once the first L1 is created, nobody can really dethrone it. And if I look at history, I see three big L1s that were created. The first one was Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin was created, it was conceived by Satoshi in 2008, and it was launched in 2009. Ethereum was the second big L1. Okay, it was conceived in 2013 by Vitalik Buterin, and it was launched in 2015. And the third big L1 is TON. And it was conceived in 2018 by the Durov brothers, who are the founders of Telegram Messenger. And it was launched, I think, in its current form in 2021. Okay, we had a long winding road. We're going to cover it a bit in a minute. And in order to understand why I consider these the three big L1s, is that once an L1 comes, they're not really dethroned. And the reason we have several L1s is because each of them captured a different use case. They're not really competing among themselves. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin, the first L1, what they invented was the cryptocurrency, okay, the first decentralized store of value. Now, even when Ethereum was created a few years after, Ethereum did not come to replace Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is still the #1 decentralized store of value in the world. It does it the best. Ethereum was a different use case altogether, and the idea behind Ethereum was to create the concept of smart contracts. The developers could finally use this blockchain technology to create their own apps. But as we will soon see, these apps, these dApps, are only for power users. Okay, Ethereum catered a very small group of professionals and tech-savvy users with very advanced DeFi apps, for example, for DeFi funds, for stuff like that. And this brings us to the third L1 use case. And the third L1 use case is still uncaptured. We don't see really a winner in this space, and we believe that TON will be it. And this third L1 use case is the use case of mass adoption. Okay, no more dApps for just power users, but decentralized internet for all. And it will influence everything from writing smart contracts and making services that you can use, but also the way you browse the net and the way you find information. And this is what we believe to be the third L1 use case that TON is going to capture. Now, people sometimes often say, maybe Ethereum, the second L1 use case, has already done the mass adoption part. And this couldn't be farther from the truth. And I want to show you some numbers. First of all, I'll ask, a general trivia question. How many users are there for Ethereum? How many users have used, this Web3 technology? And the total numbers of users so far is no more than 20 million. And if you look at the active monthly users, it's no more than 5 million. And only 5 million users around the world is a pretty small number. Now, if you look also, because some people can say mass adoption is coming, and it's slowly growing and it will get there. But the graph that I put here on the bottom shows you the monthly active users of Ethereum per month. Since 2017. And you can see that this number is slowly growing, but it's stagnating. We don't expect this number to grow to 100 million users anytime soon. And this is not a criticism of Ethereum. I think Ethereum does not try to aim to mass adoption. Ethereum tries to cater to professional users. Users like my mom would never be able to use MetaMask, and users like my mom would never ever be able to use a service like Compound or Aave or do advanced trading strategies that Ethereum offers. So we have a brand new use case that we can try to capture. So what were the attempts, the big attempts so far at mass adoption? Who tried to capture this use case? And it turns out that capturing mass adoption requires a very big thing. Not everyone can do it. It's not a matter of technology. It turns out that what you need in order to capture this use case is an existing critical mass of users. Ethereum does not have a critical mass of users. It started from scratch. It started from 0 users. And it worked hard to reach the 5 million monthly that it has today. And it turns out in order to reach mass adoption, you need to start with at least 500 million users. Okay. Now, who had these user bases and set their marks on doing crypto and blockchain and Web3? So we saw several attempts to do this during the years. And the first big attempt was in 2018 with the Gram token. This is the first token that Telegram, when they thought about TON, wanted to issue. And Telegram has a 750 million user base, and this was a good attempt. But Gram, if you know your history, did stop. Another good attempt was Facebook, 3.5 billion user base. And in 2019, they wanted to launch Libra, later renamed to Diem. And this attempt also stopped. So I hope that this would be it, and this is not the case. And now we have TON, the reincarnation of the original Gram of Telegram. And this is not just Telegram anymore. Telegram++, Telegram is not leading this, but they're a part of it. And this is in 2020. And this is a new project kind of like building on the old one. And this is what we're all part of today. So what is the open network? What is TON? So the definition is very simple. TON is a fully decentralized layer 1 blockchain. Okay, let's analyze this for a minute. Mass adoption usually comes with a lot of centralization. Why? Because users don't care about decentralization. The end users, my mom at home, she doesn't understand decentralization. But still, we believe this is important for her. We believe it's important for users to own their own assets. We believe it's important for users to have transparency over how these systems are run. We believe that fairness should be a fundamental thing and privacy should be a fundamental thing. You should not be able to ask permission to use this internet, but you should be part of it. You should be one of the people running it. So full decentralization is a core principle of TON, okay? And to bring this to mass adoption is not simple. TON is a layer 1 blockchain. We said that there are very few use cases for L1. TON is one of them. This means that the entire blockchain is implemented from scratch, using its own consensus, proof of stake, environmentally friendly. We'll see it in a minute. It was designed by Telegram. 2018 were when I first saw the white paper that leaked. So the people who envisioned TON were the Telegram founders. And they took all of their learnings of how to build a messenger that encompasses the entire globe and sends billions of messages per day and designed a blockchain that could do the same, which is something that we've never seen so far. And the purpose of TON is to onboard billions of users, not just the 5 million of users of Ethereum, but we want to reach a state where almost every person in the globe has access to this technology and can use it easily. It boasts ultra-fast transactions, tiny fees. So, if you know how to create a messenger that sends 15 billion messages per day, you can create a blockchain that can execute millions of messages per second. If we look at Ethereum today, which is, I would say, the leading L1 for dApps today, you see that Ethereum only runs a few dozens of transactions per second. And we in TON can reach millions. Easy to use apps. The products that we're building are completely different. They're not complicated MetaMask, DeFi. They're products that people at home could use and understand, and it's environmentally friendly, proof of stake consensus. But true, also Ethereum today has reached the stage with Ethereum 2.0. Now, a lot of the promise of TON is the fact that Telegram Messenger, except from just being the envisioning body behind it, because Telegram now is not leading TON Foundation. Telegram today is participating in the blockchain and is building on top of TON. So Telegram, their belief in TON is one of the key things that will make TON successful. And to know why Telegram is successful is to see some stats. Telegram is the fastest growing mobile app in 2021. You can see here a graph showing, the most successful apps. Telegram has today 750 million active users. This is insane. We have only 5 billion users in the internet today. We almost at like a sixth of them use Telegram, which is crazy. 500 billion plus monthly channel views, 600 million channels, 4 million bots, 10 million new signups every week. Now, when you look this is a growth graph. A social network has the growth graph that we need for mass adoption. It's not the stagnating, user base that we saw with Ethereum and Web3 that grows very slowly. This really grows every year by 40%. So, when people think about Web3, you're used to seeing Web3, the existing Web3, which is not designed for mass adoption. And part of the purpose of this hackathon is to work with you, the creators, to innovate and envision and dream what would Web3 look like in the era of mass adoption. What sort of projects and products would we see? And this is an open question. Nobody really knows, what products we will bring and build that will bring these users to Web3. Now that we have the technology available to you, this is open for you. So I try to think of a use case. I don't know if this is a killer use case or if this is the best use case. But if the Ethereum use case is a DeFi position or like taking a loan on Compound and putting it in a DEX to do a swap or a complicated thing like that, I think the use cases we'll see in Web3 mass adoption are going to be much simpler. So let me show you an example. So let's say we have a guy named Lucas, and Lucas has a restaurant in Brazil and he wants to open it. And Lucas needs to have a logo design, for example, for his restaurant. And Prisha, she's a designer that she designs logos and menus in India. And in the Web 2 era, if they want to work together, if Lucas wants to hire Prisha to work for him and design the logo for his restaurant, then they have to work through an intermediary. And such an intermediary is Fiverr, for example. It's a pretty cool website. But the flow through Fiverr is complicated. First of all, the cross-border payments don't really work. You have to pay Fiverr, probably in the US, and then to get money from the US back to India is expensive with fees. You have to ask for a lot of permission to do everything, a lot of friction throughout the process. The ideals of Web3 mean that these two users should be able to engage directly. So how would we envision such a flow? So imagine that right inside Telegram Messenger, there is a very cool bot, TWA, like a web app in Telegram, where Prisha and Lucas can find each other. They decide to work together, and when they pay each other, they do it just through the messenger. They send some Ton coins or a stable coin on the Ton ecosystem directly to each other, and Prisha can cash out an off-ramp immediately without asking anyone. This is the future that we envision, a future of full borderless payments and easy-to-use apps accessible to anyone without any intermediaries, and a user experience that is matching what we see today in Web 2. This is the dream, and we need you to keep dreaming it. So let's review a quick history of Ton, because Ton is a blockchain. I don't know if you follow the history. There was a winding road of disruption. And the key years, I'm not going to focus on the ancient history, but on the recent history. And since 2020, the project really reincarnated and kind of like captured its current momentum. And there was consensus that Telegram handed over Ton to the community. The consensus was achieved. This group of community or open source contributors that are now maintaining and leading Ton was selected and elected by the community. There were multiple forks, and this fork won, if you want to take the fully decentralized view of things. So since 2020, we finally have consensus over what Ton is. 2021 was a year dedicated to the resurrection, because the old network was kind of like died and disappeared, and we stabilized the new network. We have new running validators, restoring the wallet. The first listings in major exchanges happened in 2021 of the new token known as Toncoin. 2022 was a year focused on ramping up, because this new ecosystem needs a lot of standards. What is the ERC20-like standard of Ton? It is called Gton. What is the standard for NFTs? What are the programming language? What are the APIs, the dev tools, all the basic infrastructure, wallets, tokens, listings that you need in order to build your services? So we ramped this up as a community during 2022. And the year 2023, I think we believe, is the year for takeoff. Now we bring in the creators, we bring you to start building TWAs and standalone web apps. We start building the innovation, creating the dApps, the DAOs, the Telegram integrations to start acquiring users into this new vision of Web3 of mass adoption. I'm going to hand it over now to you, Roman. Tell us a little about what we see in Telegram.
Thank you, Tal. Thank you very much for this big introduction. Let's see the video of what we have right now. Right now, you, your friend, even your mom could pay inside Telegram with no installations, with no downloads. Right now, inside the Telegram, just receive payments, cross-border payments. Like, you don't need to pay fees like Swift or SEPA in Europe. You don't need anything. You can right now just pay your psychotherapist, for example, or even your friend for a cup of coffee using Ton blockchain and wallet inside the Telegram Messenger. That's how case of mass adoption looks like. Feel free to scan the QR code and try it yourself. You don't need to believe. You can try it right now.
And it's important to say that many of these TWAs, Telegram web apps, this new vision of what apps look like in the modern age, are available as bots. So the username @wallet, this is what you will get when you scan the QR code, and you will see a completely seamless wallet experience that you could use now inside the app.
Yep. Let's go okay. So moreover, right now, you could secure with Ton blockchain, your username on Telegram. You can buy it as NFT, and it will belong to you as you hold this NFT. And you can hold it forever. and your username will stay with you forever. That's how we understand the word owning of assets, backed by blockchain, and it's pretty cheap. Yes, you need to pay the price. However, you won't pay so many fees for gas. Will pay for service provider.
Roman, what I really, admire about this is one of the first times I saw Telegram going all in on Ton. Because to sell all the usernames in Telegram, and we're just talking about premium usernames, right? My personal username I got for free, and people will get that for free. But if you want, for example, the username @game or I don't know, @bank, this username is going to be auctioned off like a domain. And people use Ton today to buy these. Telegram is using Ton exclusively for this, and I think the total sales of these assets have surpassed the $50 million, which is pretty insane. And you can scan the QR code and participate in the Fragment ecosystem today, and participate in this platform and auction off your usernames and so forth.
Another good example is a DEX in your smartphone right now. You can just open the Telegram, just open the bot and see seamless integration of DEX in your phone. Sure, your mom won't use DEX. However, you can exchange tokens without any intermediary right now on blockchain in your Telegram account, in your Telegram messenger. You can do it right now. It's an example of use case how you can use or integrate your future tokens of your game, of your NFT collection or bigger project, or maybe integration of social network. And without any intermediaries, you can use all the exchange in a Telegram messenger for every user.
Now, the reason we chose this DEX in particular is that you have the GitHub account, the GitHub organization for it, and it's entirely open source. So if you're a new developer for Ton and you want to see such a project, with all the sides, the front-end side, the back-end, the contracts for a relatively complex project, you can take a look at this and see how it was implemented.
Right. Thank you, Tom. And the third part, the third example, are NFTs. As we have fungible tokens, we have non-fungible tokens. And what NFT infrastructure on Ton looks like. Right now, we have a major marketplace called GetGems, where you can create, when you can sell, when you can host all your NFT collections, NFT projects, or maybe you make a game and you want to create assets for your game. You can host them using the smart contracts from NFT marketplace called GetGems. You can see it right now, see the most popular collections right now using this QR code. And moreover, you can open GitHub to see the sources of smart contracts. They are open. You can read it right now. It's pretty important, the open source of the ecosystem.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from the GetGems use base. It's one of the first TWAs created, and a lot of how I learned to build TWAs just from reading their code and learning from it.
Yeah. However, it's only beginning. You could see how many wallets we have right now, how many DEXs, and it's only beginning. With DoraHacks, you will see many potential projects that will reach millions of users, maybe billions, who know. However, right now we could see many instruments to create anything. Just start building. Is it a screenshot from ton.app? I'm not sure. However, on ton.app, you could see any project from this, any integration, and any tool you need to build. Ton.app.
Yeah. Now, the cool thing about decentralized ecosystems is there's not a single thing of anything. There are multiple DEXs, multiple NFT marketplaces, and they all compete, and it's all fair game. And we really hope to see some of the projects that you will build in the hackathon be in this slide in the next 6 months. So the next part, after we've done this introduction, is to start kind of like giving you a hint of how to go into the Ton ecosystem as developers. And we're going to start that by discussing some of the programming languages that we have in Ton. And we separated this list into two groups. The list in blue is the languages you use to build smart contracts on Ton. I'm going to give you a very quick overview just to understand where we're at. So in the beginning, everything was Fift. Fift was a very low-level language that you will probably not be using anywhere. But just know that this was kind of like the origin of writing smart contracts on Ton. It's a very unique and special language crafted for the TVM, for the Ton virtual machine, because this TVM is different from anything that existed in the world beforehand. So it needed its own new programming language. FunC is the language that you will probably use during the hackathon if you are going to build a smart contract. FunC is kind of another smart contract language built above Fift. So actually the contracts that you build in FunC compile to Fift before they run on the TVM, but you don't see Fift anymore, so you don't really need to learn it. FunC is a language that resembles C or C++. I would say C more. But still, we feel it's kind of a low-level language, and now there is a big trend in the Ton ecosystem to work on a new language called Takt. Takt is not really fully released to production yet, but you can play with it. There is a compiler, you can see what it's going to look like, but just know that if you build on Takt, it is much easier. It's a much simpler language to understand and to work with, a much more friendlier language with more abstractions. But just know that it's still breaking because it's not fully released. So there is a chance that during the next month or two, there will be breaking changes and code that you write will not compile and stuff like that. We will see Takt being launched in the next few months to production. Right now, you will probably build on FunC. The other languages in gray are languages for peripheral tooling. It's not how you write smart contract languages, but how you interact with the Ton blockchain and all of its services. And I put them just in the order of history. C++, I think, was the first language, because if you look at how Ton core is written and how the node is implemented, it was all implemented in C++, a very low-level code base and very, very efficient. But the community over the course of the last 3 years created many libraries in many other languages to communicate with the Ton protocol. You will find such libraries in almost any language you can think of. Golang is an example. Python, there's a very active community. If you like Python, there's a lot of tooling that you can build, tooling like Ton CLI that help Python developers kind of like build things. And my personal favorite, TypeScript. Now, if you want to integrate with the blockchain, TypeScript is probably the way to go. And there's a lot of tooling in Ton that if you're a TypeScript developer, you can either build front ends or build backends, bots, or whatever that interact with the Ton blockchain. So tons of libraries there. And one of the most important things to understand about Ton is that Ton is not just a blockchain, the open network. What we're building is a network, and blockchain is just one small part of it. Blockchain is the part that executes smart contracts and dApps and stores the information in a secure way. But a network, Web3, the internet, it has many other aspects, many other services that are also part of Ton. For example, Ton Storage. Ton Storage was just released, I think this year, at the end of 2022. And Ton Storage is a solution that will compete with IPFS. So it's kind of like IPFS on steroids. It allows you to store massive amounts of data for very cheap, just because blockchain on-chain storage is very expensive, as you know, and you don't want to, if you want to store a video, you're not going to store it on-chain. You're going to store it on Ton Storage. Ton DNS, this is the way to kind of like have a meaningful name, not an address that nobody can understand, but a meaningful name that you can buy. And there's a whole system. If you go today to dns.ton.org, you can buy a .ton DNS name. Ton Payments is a standard that allows parties to send peer-to-peer or even in a larger group a huge amount of payments and run it very efficiently with gas and not sacrifice any of the security. So this system is already launched as well. And Ton Sites is a re-envisioning, to how you publish websites in Web3 in a completely private way. So the person who published the website cannot be censored, and even if they want to, not share their identity because it's confidential, they can still do that. And people who visit the website don't need to be afraid that their governments are gonna sanction them for doing that. So this is also already live, and you can build things on top of that. One of the things, I assume that many of the people going through onboarding are not, coming just from Web 2 and are new to blockchain, but some of them are coming from Solidity. Some of them are coming from Ethereum, and they already have experience with blockchain. And for that, we have some materials for you that will help you to explain the differences between TON and what you're used to. I'm going to go over these very quickly. We have a blog post that I wrote. You can see the QR code here. I'm going to switch to it for a second, just to give you like the highlight of it. So like it's a very quick one. Like you could read it in 10 minutes, and it's going to give you, the main things you need to understand if you're coming to the TVM from EVM. If you're coming from Solidity, what's different? And I think if I had to summarize it in a sentence, I would say that it's kind of like moving from data to big data. Because when we moved before the blockchain age, in databases, from SQL databases,
Right.
big data, no SQL databases. This was a shift in how you see the world. And this is the same shift that TON does. Okay, Ethereum is kind of like the SQL, and TON is the big data, no SQL. So you will see, for example, your contracts pay rent, and you need to create a gas strategy. It's a very big shift and change. The calls between smart contracts are asynchronous and not atomic, which is a mind-blowing change compared to how Ethereum works. Takes a lot of getting used to.
Right.
Your smart contracts can't run getter methods on other contracts as you would expect. And smart contracts can be upgraded easily. It's not immutable like on Ethereum. You usually don't have unbounded data structures, so you shard your smart contracts. And wallets are smart contracts too. So some of these changes will feel very alien to you. So I really recommend that you read this post before you start developing, if you're coming from Solidity. A big concept of TON, as I mentioned, is the fact that smart contracts should be sharded. Now this is also such a big innovation to the world. I think TON is the first asynchronous sharded where the smart contracts themselves are sharded. And this is kind of like changes the way you develop on TON. And there's another cool blog post, you can see the QR code here, that kind of like deep dives into how you build a smart contract sharded architecture. And it takes the TON GTON code base. GTON is the parallel to ERC20, and shows how it was implemented, just to explain the concept.
Yeah. Thank you, Tal. Thanks for explanation of all of these mind-blowing things like asynchronicity. Yeah, it's a next era, and how to go deeper in it, how to start playing with it, how to build something on it. If you want to build something on TON, you don't need 10 links to 20 repositories to 30 versions of libraries. You need only one link called ton.org/dev. If you want to start building, if you want to find documentation, tutorials, tools, APIs, SDK, just go to ton.org/dev. That's where your journey begins. We can go deeper to 4 essential things. We'll go into covering the documentation, the community links. We'll cover essential tutorials that we prepared to onboard you in the easiest way possible. And we will close our onboarding stream with the first step everyone needs to do to start developing on TON. Let's start from documentation. So documentation will navigate you across all the things you want to understand on TON, from difference between synchronicity and asynchronicity to how to build on TON storage, how to become a storage provider and host something, how to use TON DNS, how to build your first smart contract, how to test it, debug it, which languages could you use. You can use TypeScript, you can use Python, you can use even Golang to speak with blockchain, to interact with Ton. And all the necessary things you can find on ton.org/docs. If you want to go more in theory, just open what is Ton and read all about technical aspects of Ton. If you want to develop something, just go into development section. Develop smart contracts, dApps, experiment with it, play with it. You have all necessary tutorials. However, right now, we'll use special tutorials prepared especially for DoraHacks Hack-a-TON as a next generation tutorials, the easiest one. And even if you want to run a node as a validator, for example, or you need just local node to interact with blockchain, to play with Ton, you can navigate to participate section and go deeper into Ton in the understanding of Ton. Let's go next. Regarding the community. So we have two main channels, two main points of interaction between developers. First one is a Telegram group called Ton Dev Chat. You can join it right now and ask your question to the community. And with like 80% chance, you will receive the answer from experts. However, if you want to see the answer of your question with 100% sure, just left the question on Ton Overflow. It's the second link. It's a project called Ton Answers, Ton Overflow. If you feel stuck, if you have a question, just go to Ton Overflow, and our experts, not only the community, however, even experts right now, will answer you as soon as possible. Use these links as the essential steps to go deeper into Ton with the documentation and developer portal. And right now, we can go across the next generation tutorials with Stalco.
So just to mention about the Telegram groups, one of the cool things is that the communities, we have a lot of local communities in Ton, and there are many groups in Telegram dev chats in different languages. So we put here the international one, the English one, but maybe if you have your own community, and then there is a good chance that you will find it in your local language, and you will find it all in ton.org website, right?
Right. Thank you, Tal, for explaining. We already have a Chinese group, especially for Chinese developers.
Yeah, and I think at least like 5 more I saw.
Right.
But don't ask your questions in the chats, because I personally hate that, and the reason for that is because the next person will not find it in the chat. This is why we created kind of our replica of Stack Overflow, and this is like a place where the knowledge will retain, and we really hope that people are gonna kind of like ask their questions there, because the chats are addictive. I know. Thank you, Roman, and I want to go over the tutorials. And like what Roman mentioned is, we really worked hard toward DoraHacks to concentrate, the onboarding, and let you taste for like, if you have 20 minutes to invest, or 30 minutes, so you can take every big aspect of Ton and as a developer and experience it for yourself. So the tutorials, you have here the links. I'm going to go over each one very quickly just to see what you have there. So let me switch over to the first one. Not this one, it's this one. Okay, so this is the tutorial platform. You can reach all the tutorials from here. You can also make some changes. For example, I know that some developers like working on testnet, some like working on mainnet. And this is actually a thing that you can switch, and it will change the tutorial accordingly. So even if there are multiple libraries that we show in the tutorial, for example, you can play around with it. We will add in the future more flavors of development. We just finished this for DoraHacks, so it just has like the main ones, but you will see them with pros and cons. So the first tutorial is, and the purpose of it is to introduce you as a developer to Ton, is to start working with the first Ton wallet. And Roman is going to show us that, I think, during this onboarding in a minute. But the idea is to kind of like learn what's the difference between testnet and mainnet, create a new wallet using an app, back up your seed phrase, view the address in an explorer, fund and deploy your wallet contract, see the versions of wallet contracts and understand that there are multiple versions, and set up your local machine for coding. Get how do you do a basic action like getting the wallet address programmatically, how you read wallet state like your balance from the blockchain, and how you create a transfer and send a transaction through your wallet. So this is the first one. The second tutorial that we have is one that give me one second. Roman, can you continue, please?
Okay, sure. The second tutorial more focused on writing your first smart contract. So if you want to write your first smart contract, you need some tools. Let me change the link. I will show from my side. I will try. 1, 2, 3. We'll go across all this tutorial. Yep. Present. Share screen. Oh.
No. Okay. Sorry. I'm back.
Okay, cool.
You have people at your door.
Okay. I didn't start sharing, so that's okay.
Okay. So the second tutorial is about how to write smart contracts. It will explain the concept of dApps. What are smart contracts for dApps? We will define a very simple smart contract, set up our local machine for developing it, create a project. We write in TypeScript, the developer environment in this case. We will explain how smart contracts in FunC. This is the language we're going to focus on now. In the future, we're going to switch to Tact, but Tact, as I said, is still in the development phase. We will implement a very simple counter smart contract and see its code. We will see how we compile it and build it. So we have a code cell ready for deployment. We'll see what the deployment script looks like. We will deploy it on chain, see that it works. We'll see it in an explorer, and then we see how we interact with it. For example, by calling getters, for example, to read the state of this contract, and how to send a transaction to this contract just to change state and everything.
Right. Okay. Could I add some words here regarding the deploying of smart contracts? So if your main language is not TypeScript and you feel more comfortable with Python, for example, you can use the tool called Ton CLI from the documentation. You can go to the documentation, open the developing smart contracts, and to see all the tools available to work with smart contracts. The interesting article that covers Ton CLI hosted in the blog. Just use ton.org/dev. You will see the FunC journey article called FunC journey, and you will go across all the materials with using Ton CLI and Python way. So it's okay. You can use Python.
What we hope in the next version of this tutorial platform is to actually show the Python ecosystem side by side, with a drop down like this. So for example, if you want to work in the TypeScript ecosystem, you will choose TypeScript. If you choose in a Python, you will choose there, and we'll show all the different, because in the decentralized ecosystems, we just have so many flavors of how people want to develop, and we created the new tutorial platform to really showcase all of that. The third tutorial for onboarding is the one for creating the client. Okay, so if smart contract is the back end, client is kind of like the face of the dApp. So to work on Ton, there is a new kind of front end. First of all, the whole flow is different. It's mobile first. If you want to reach mass adoption, you need to see how people use. And if you look at Telegram as a good case study, you see that like 90% of the people use Telegram through the mobile device. So a lot of the dApps on Ton are designed to be mobile first. And there is the new TWAs, these special web apps that can integrate directly into the Telegram Messenger, which are pretty cool. And we want you to build those as well. So you will set up your local machine. You will set up the project. You will use a standard called Ton Connect. Ton Connect is the protocol by which your dApp will communicate with the wallet. There are many, many wallets around the ecosystem, and we are now going to standardize. We're already started this process. Ton Connect 2 is the newest standard, and all the wallets are slowly transitioning to support it. Okay, the standard was released just a few months ago. So some of the wallets still don't support it. We apologize, but it will, I think in a month or two, all of them will. We'll show you how you can connect from your dApp to the wallet, how you can read information from the wallet using from the blockchain, and how you can use the wallet to send transactions that the user will approve, because it will have to be from the user's account when they use your app. And I think what was exciting to me, we will recommend that you publish your web apps to GitHub pages. It's free and it's excellent for dApps. And we are very excited about the TWA integration, so you could showcase your dApps right inside Telegram. This is exciting too. And last is something about testing, because we know from smart contracts that people really want to show about security, that their contracts are good. And how do you even check, something like that? How do you create the test cases to make sure that money goes into contracts, money coming out is all handled properly? So we believe, kind of like in the EVM ecosystem with automated test suites, and we have a tutorial dedicated to showing you that, to how you can make sure that your contract is working without testing it manually. So this tutorial kind of like explains all the ways to test on Ton. It pitches a very opinionated one form, although in the future, we're going to see a drop down showing other forms as well, as people start contributing to these tutorials. And you will see how we load a contract in a test, and how we can create a test that reads information from the contract, and how we can create a test that sends transactions and messages to this contract. Another very important thing is how to debug a contract, because some of the developers have an error and they don't even know, it's a smart contract. It's not running on my machine. How can I even, debug it, see what's going on? So we have a few useful tips showing you how to do this. And lastly, how you test in production, because sometimes when you finish your contract, you just want to see, you want to see it live, and we recommend that as well.
That's it. Okay, so we have finished these tutorials. However, if you are a builder, if you want to start playing with Ton, if you want to start with first tutorial to understand how wallets work, if you want to interact with your smart contracts, in every case, you need one necessary thing: wallet. That's why we'll cover the major wallet, non-custodial wallet in Ton ecosystem. Non-custodial, it's very important, because only with non-custodial wallet you can interact with smart contracts. And the major wallet in Ton ecosystem is a Ton Keeper. And the first step of every builder in Ton is to start a wallet. By this QR code, you can download the Ton Keeper and start building on Ton. It's the essential step in Ton ecosystem. So welcome to Ton. We could start with questions.
I want to say that there are many wallets in the ecosystem. Ton Keeper is, I would say, like Roman said, is the most popular one. There are hints and rumors that Telegram working on a wallet that should be showcased inside the Telegram app, and we'll see it soon. Besides the wallet bot, something non-custodial, but that's just a rumor. We haven't seen it yet. Ton Keeper is open source. You can find the source code on GitHub, and there are many others in Ton app/wallets. You can see some of them.
Right. Thank you, Salko. Thank you, Dali. It was a brilliant presentation.
So, Justin, we're going to go to the questions.
Yes.
Yes. Well, first off, thank you guys so much for that amazing presentation. So we've had a bunch of questions come in. During the presentation, I've been filtering out the ones that we would like to answer during the live session. For those we're not answering through the live session, we will get back to you through the chat, and we'll be sure to reach out if your question has been selected for the awards. So the first question is directed to Roman. Roman, how does a new developer team, how can they find something to do on Ton that's useful? Like where to find relevant tasks, who can help with it? Maybe we could touch on the footsteps.
Oh, sure, sure. It's an essential thing in Ton, I think, because when every builder comes to Ton, he wants to understand how can I help, what to build, and how to build things that matters, how to build valuable things. And if you are a builder, standalone builder, or a small team who wants to help growing the Ton ecosystem, who wants to participate in building the mass adoption, you can go to the Ton Footsteps project on GitHub. Just write in Google Ton Footsteps, and the first link you will see the GitHub repository with many issues inside. Right now, many builders helping growing the Ton ecosystem with small steps, with small micro grants up to 5K, provided to make a small change, small impact to make the Ton ecosystem better, to add Toncoin to Trust Wallet, to write syntax highlighting for our new languages, to write article in Ton documentation, to make a new tutorial for new SDK, to write the whole documentation for SDK. For every step, you could receive support and compensation. And in that way, you help building things that matters. You bring impact by investing your time. After that, after playing around with such things, you could find a necessary thing to build for the community, and you could become a maintainer of it, or maybe a commercial project.
I would say that footsteps, are focused around infrastructure more.
Right.
And I think maybe you could cover like how would a team get ideas for what to build, which is not infrastructure. For example, like what would be a good hackathon project? I assume many people are thinking.
Right. Cool. In that case, it's very good to inspire with the application web apps that we have right now, like the wallet. We already have it, and you could play with it. We have dexes. Just go to ton.app and see what we have. However, it's very important to understand that we still a new ecosystem, and all the things that we have in EVM, in Ethereum, in Solana, in Aptos, in many ecosystems, you could just duplicate them, build them, and win the hackathon. It's very important. It's necessary things like bridges, lending platforms, compounding, all the DeFi tools. It's very important infrastructure for every blockchain.
I expect that some teams would invent the use cases of mass adoption that you can't see in the other ecosystem just because they can't support, can reach them. So that's just for me what is I'm looking forward the most to see out of this hackathon. Like people, but here you're going to have to be creative because nobody's done it in the world. Now we have the technology that can do it, and we have the user base that can be exposed to it. But the creations themselves is going to be the brainchild of what your teams are building.
Perfect. Second question. This one's directed towards you, Tal. Are there any support resources available for our developers if they encounter stability issues during testing, or is mentorship available for such situations?
Yes. Okay. Very, very good question. So first of all, let's start by, things start from the top, and you see that the people who are giving you the onboarding, and we put our Telegram handles on screen. You see my Telegram handle and you see Roman's Telegram handle, and both of us are open for chats. So you can start with us, even if you don't know anything. Although the community is on the Telegram group that we put, and the Ton Answers group we're going to get experts from the core team to be there and answer your questions. For connectivity issues, you will see in the tutorial we created special Telegram support groups with people in these groups just to help you with connectivity issues. I think most of the things will happen through chat, but expect that many of us are in different time zones. All of us live all over the world. So even if you don't get an answer immediately, check back within 24 hours. People would have woken up by then, and you will get a response. So you will see the links in the tutorials, and in the two slides in the slide where Roman showed the two main community avenues. And we're here for you. Like we built this hackathon for you, and we're investing so much energy into it succeeding. So connectivity issues are not gonna hold you back. Like we're gonna make sure it works.
Amazing. The next question's for myself. So the question is, how is Ton addressing security concerns specifically related to cross-chain functionality? So I'll start off by saying that we take security very, very importantly. From our audit standpoint, Trail of Bits, Certic, has both completed a full audit of Ton, and we now have QuantStamp going to do the same thing. From a cross-chain functionality standpoint, our core team has developed a Rainbow Bridge in conjunction with the team called R Squad, and that, since last Q4 of 2022, is being audited, is also being reviewed by the core team. One of the aspects that I believe we do well from a security standpoint is to also open it up to the community. We say, hey, come and test this out. Come and try to break it. There are bounties for it. And really, the tech vectors and things that we are not aware of are going to be found only when we gather resources together and really put our brains together. So I would like to highlight that portion. And in the future, we'll also have other bounties for the community to look into. The next question, second to last one for myself. So how is Ton going to bring investors on board and increase TVL for the Ton blockchain, in particular DeFi projects? So from our standpoint, in order to increase TVL, there's many different levers we can pull. However, the upcoming open challenge, specifically related to liquidity rewards program, is going to really incentivize and ignite DeFi across the board for Ton ecosystem. So it's a very simple TVL attraction method whereby we give 2% of all TVL coming onto Ton as a form of Ton reward. So for 1 year and counting, we will invite founders and projects to come and build on Ton. And as a matter of fact, Megaton, which is another AMM V2 type DEX, just launched today. And within the first hour, their TVL just reached 1.7 million. So the grass is green. We have a bunch of teams who are wanting to build. Really, the opportunities here for everybody to come and grab. Last question. This is for Tao. It's a fun one. How long does it take to complete the collection of sneakers on the back side of your screen, Tao?
I haven't worn all of them, but you're welcome to come to my house in London, and I will host you. And you're welcome to try. So I do collect sneakers, but I only collect vintage Adidas ones that they no longer manufacture. So I have like a weird fetish.
Awesome. Good story.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you guys again for joining the session. I mean, it was a really good kickoff call. And so for the rest of the week until February 5th, which is a Sunday, every day we will have different sessions with different mentors. And tomorrow our session is going to entail 30-minute Q&A onboarding across 4 different time zones. So for Europe and CIS, it's going to be GMT +3 at 7 p.m. Dubai and India, 7 p.m. for India time. Greater China, 7 p.m. also in Chinese time. And lastly, Korea, 7 p.m. in Korean time. There will be different mentors who will be able to speak your own language. So definitely come into the Zoom call. And we really invite for people to ask any questions because it's really about the community. And most importantly, it's about the builders who you're watching right now. So thank you guys again. And we can't wait to see what we want to build on DoraHacks. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.